Welcome to Unlimited Travel, your gateway to the most extraordinary places on Earth. In this breathtaking journey, we're about to race across the globe. From legendary landmarks that shaped history, to hidden wonders few travelers ever see. This is more than a list. It's a world tour of 50 unforgettable destinations. Each one powerful enough to leave you speechless. Each one waiting to be discovered. But before we take off, a quick invitation for you, fellow explorer. If you haven't already, subscribe to Unlimited Travel. By joining us, you become part of a global community driven by curiosity, adventure, and the love of discovery, and you'll never miss a journey like this. So stay sharp. Because this world moves fast. And if you blink, you might miss something truly extraordinary. Are you ready? Let's dive into top 50 places to visit in the world. At number 50, we begin our journey in Riga, where quiet streets and layered history set the tone for what's to come. Riga, the capital city of Latvia. Riga feels like a city that reveals itself quietly. Set along the calm flow of the Daugava River, Latvia's capital carries a soft, old-world charm shaped by centuries of change. Its historic old town is a maze of cobbled streets, where medieval churches, guild houses, and hidden courtyards seem untouched by time. Just beyond it, elegant Art Nouveau buildings line wide boulevards, their sculpted faces watching over daily life. There's a gentle rhythm here, cafes filled with conversation, church bells in the distance, and the river reflecting the sky at dusk. Riga isn't loud or dramatic, but that's its strength. It invites you to slow down, look closer, and feel the quiet beauty of a city shaped by history and resilience. Coming in at 49, we step into Jaipur, where royal history and vibrant culture fill every street. Jaipur doesn't feel like a city you simply visit, it feels like a place you slowly step into. Set against the dry, rugged Aravalli Hills, the Pink City carries the quiet pride of its royal past. Amber Fort rises above the landscape with a calm strength, watching over lakes and winding roads that once echoed with royal processions. Inside the old city, Hawa Mahal catches the light like a memory frozen in stone, while the city palace still feels alive with stories of kings, artisans, and astronomers. The streets are filled with color, hand-woven fabrics, spices in the air, voices bargaining and laughing. Jaipur isn't just seen, it's felt, layered with history, culture, and everyday life moving forward together. At number 48, Vancouver shows how city life and nature can exist side by side. Vancouver feels like a place where the city learned to grow without turning its back on nature. Set between the Pacific Ocean and snow-dusted mountains, it carries a calm, outdoorsy energy that's easy to fall into. One moment you're walking through glass-lined streets, the next you're surrounded by forest trails in Stanley Park or watching the sun dip behind the water at English Bay. The mountains rise quietly in the distance, shaping the skyline and the pace of life. Neighborhoods feel open and lived in, filled with cafes, markets, and voices from all over the world. Vancouver doesn't rush you. It invites you to breathe deeper, look around, and enjoy how naturally everything fits together. Reaching 47, Angkor Wat whispers stories from stone and jungle alike. Angkor Wat feels less like a monument and more like a quiet conversation with the past. Hidden within the jungles of Cambodia, its stone towers rise slowly from the earth, softened by time and nature. As the sun lifts over the temple, light spills across carved walls filled with stories of gods, battles, and everyday life from centuries ago. Tree roots wrap around ruins nearby, as if the forest itself is holding them together. There's a deep stillness here, broken only by footsteps and birds in the distance. Walking through Angkor Wat isn't about rushing to see everything, it's about slowing down, listening, and feeling the weight and wonder of a civilization that never truly disappeared. At number 46, Lauterbrunnen feels like a place pulled straight from a dream. Tucked into a wide alpine valley, it's surrounded by towering cliffs where waterfalls spill endlessly from the rocks, their sound echoing through the air. Wooden chalets sit quietly among green meadows, while snow-capped peaks watch over the village from every direction. Life here moves slowly, cows grazing, church bells ringing, clouds drifting low across the mountains. Walking through Lauterbrunnen, you don't feel like a visitor so much as a guest in nature's own sanctuary. It's a place that doesn't demand attention, yet stays with you long after you've left, calm, pure, and unforgettable. Coming in at 45, we move toward Pulla, a place where ancient stone meets the calm Adriatic Sea. Pulla feels like a place where history and the sea have learned to live together. Sitting at the edge of the Adriatic, this small Croatian city carries the weight of centuries without ever feeling heavy. Its Roman amphitheater rises from the heart of the city, still standing strong as waves shimmer nearby, a reminder of lives lived long before ours. Stone streets lead past ancient temples, quiet harbors, and sun-washed cafes where time seems unhurried. Pulla simply exists, calm and timeless, letting its stories unfold naturally with every step. At number 44, Sujo invites us into a world of canals, gardens, and quiet elegance. Sujo feels gentle, almost poetic, as if the city was designed to be experienced at a slower pace. Crisscrossed by quiet canals and stone bridges, it carries the nickname Venice of the East with ease. Classical gardens hide behind simple walls, opening into peaceful worlds of ponds, pavilions, and carefully shaped trees where every view feels intentional. Old streets lined with whitewashed houses reflect softly in the water, while boats drift by in near silence. Sujo is a place where beauty isn't loud, it's thoughtful, balanced, and meant to be appreciated one quiet moment at a time. Reaching 43, we arrive in San Gimignano, where medieval towers rise above the Tuscan hills. Rising from the rolling hills of Tuscany, its stone towers stand tall against the sky, silent reminders of a proud medieval past. Narrow streets wind between weathered buildings, opening into sunlit squares where life moves at an easy, familiar pace. From the town walls, vineyards and olive groves stretch endlessly into the distance, glowing warm in the afternoon light. Bells echo softly, footsteps slow, and conversations drift through the air. San Gimignano invites you to wander, look up, and imagine the centuries that have quietly passed by. At number 42, Salvador pulses with music, color, and deep cultural roots. Salvador feels alive in a way that's hard to put into words. Set along Brazil's Atlantic coast, the city moves to its own rhythm, shaped by the deep roots of Afro-Brazilian culture. In the historic Pelourinho, colorful colonial buildings lean into cobbled streets where music, laughter, and the sound of drums spill out naturally. Churches covered in gold stand beside open squares filled with dancers and street vendors. Salvador isn't polished, it's bold, emotional, and full of soul, a place where history, faith, and everyday life blend into something vibrant and unforgettable. Closing the 40s at number 41, Istanbul stands between continents, history flowing through every street. Istanbul feels like a city suspended between worlds. Stretching across Europe and Asia, it carries layers of history that reveal themselves with every step. Minarets rise beside ancient domes, and the call to prayer drifts over the Bosphorus as ferries glide across the water. Inside Hagia Sophia and the Blue Mosque, centuries of faith and empire seem to breathe through stone and light. Istanbul is never just one thing, it's old and alive, restless and reflective, a place where past and present meet and continue moving forward together. At number 40, Strasbourg blends cultures, history, and gentle river life into one timeless setting. Strasbourg feels like a place where two worlds meet and settle comfortably together. Sitting along the River Ill, the city carries both French warmth and German precision in its streets and architecture. In the old quarter of La Petite France, half-timbered houses lean over narrow canals, their reflections drifting softly in the water. The towering cathedral rises above it all, intricate and steady, marking centuries of history and faith. Strasbourg draws you in gently, with charm, balance, and a sense of lived-in history. Coming in at 39, Budapest unfolds along the Danube with elegance and quiet strength. Budapest feels like a city shaped by water, time, and quiet strength. Split by the Danube, Buda rises calmly with its hills and castles, while Pest stretches out lively and opens on the other side. As evening falls, the city softens, lights reflecting on the river, bridges glowing, footsteps slowing. Thermal baths steam gently in the cold air, inviting you to pause the way locals have for generations. Budapest atmosphere, elegance, and moments linger longer than expected. At number 38, Edinburgh feels like a city wrapped in mist and memory. Built across rolling hills and volcanic rock, it carries a quiet drama that unfolds slowly as you walk its streets. The castle stands watch from above, grounding the city in centuries of stories, battles, and legends. Below, narrow closes twist through the old town, while the new town opens into wide streets and graceful stone buildings. Edinburgh invites you to wander, listen, and feel the weight of history settling comfortably into everyday life. Reaching 37, Berlin tells a story of resilience, creativity, and constant reinvention. Berlin feels honest, layered, and unfinished in the best way. The city carries its history openly, with reminders of division and resilience woven into everyday life. Along streets once split by walls, modern cafes, galleries, and voices now move freely. Old buildings still bear scars, while new ideas rise beside them without apology. Berlin doesn't try to be beautiful in a traditional sense. It feels real, creative, reflective, and constantly reshaping itself, inviting you to understand it rather than simply admire it. At number 36, Florence reminds us how deeply art and life can intertwine. Florence feels like a city that knows exactly who it is. Resting along the Arno River, it carries the quiet confidence of a place that once changed the world through art and ideas. Domes, towers, and stone bridges rise naturally from the streets, as if they've always belonged there. Inside museums and churches, masterpieces feel less like exhibits and more like echoes of human ambition and beauty. Florence draws you in gently, reminding you how powerful creativity can be when it's deeply human. Coming in at 35, Bruges slows the pace with canals, cobblestones, and old-world charm. Bruges feels like a place that moves at its own gentle pace. Winding canals slip past brick houses and quiet courtyards, reflecting towers and passing clouds in the water. Cobblestone streets lead to small squares where church bells ring softly and cafes invite you to linger a little longer. There's a calm beauty here, shaped by medieval trade, craftsmanship, and everyday life unfolding slowly. Bruges rewards patience, inviting you to slow down and enjoy the simple pleasure of being there. At number 34, Barcelona feels like a city that breathes creativity. Set between the sea and the hills, it carries an energy that's warm, open, and always moving. The curves and colors of gaudy architecture rise naturally from the streets, turning everyday walks into small moments of wonder. Along the coast, the Mediterranean softens the city, while lively markets and narrow neighborhoods hum with conversation and life. Barcelona feels expressive and effortlessly alive. Reaching 33, Burano greets us with color, simplicity, and life by the lagoon. Burano feels like a place painted by instinct rather than design. Sitting quietly in the Venetian lagoon, its brightly colored houses line the canals like reflections of joy and everyday life. Each shade feels personal, as if the town decided long ago that color was part of survival. Laundry hangs from windows, boats drift past slowly, and conversations carry easily across the water. Burano offers something softer and more intimate, a reminder that beauty can be simple and honest. At number 32, London feels like many cities layered into one. Along the Thames, centuries of history flow past modern towers, old bridges, and familiar landmarks that never feel frozen in time. You can feel the past in stone churches and narrow lanes, yet everyday life moves fast, footsteps on platforms, conversations in cafes, voices from everywhere. London unfolds through neighborhoods, moods, and moments, sometimes grand, sometimes ordinary. That mix is its strength, a city constantly changing, yet always aware of where it's come from. Closing the 30s at number 31, Český Krumlov feels like a town carefully preserved by time itself. Curved gently by the Vltava River, its red rooftops and narrow streets sit beneath a castle that seems to watch over everything below. Walking through the old town, you move past painted facades, small courtyards, and corners that feel untouched by the modern world. From above, the view stretches out like a storybook scene, river, bridges, towers, and hills blending together. Český Krumlov stays with you through atmosphere, calm beauty, and the feeling of having stepped into another time. At number 30, New York City moves fast, loud, and full of possibility. New York City feels like constant motion, yet somehow deeply personal. Skyscrapers rise like ambition made visible, while streets below pulse with stories from every corner of the world. One moment you're surrounded by noise and neon, the next you're standing quietly in a park, watching life pass by. Neighborhoods change block by block, each with its own rhythm, its own voice. New York challenges you, inspires you, and leaves you feeling like anything might be possible if you stay long enough. Coming in at 29, Valletta stands proud above the sea, shaped by centuries of resilience. Built on a narrow peninsula, the city looks out over deep blue harbors that have carried ships, soldiers, and traders for centuries. History is everywhere, but it doesn't feel heavy. It lives comfortably alongside everyday life, in open squares and shaded cafes. Church bells echo softly, and the light shifts constantly across the walls. Valletta draws you in with warmth, resilience, and the feeling of standing at a crossroads of civilizations. At number 28, Banff humbles us with mountains, silence, and raw beauty. Banff National Park feels vast and humbling, the kind of place that makes you instinctively lower your voice. Set deep in the Canadian Rockies, it's shaped by towering peaks, turquoise lakes, and forests that seem to stretch forever. The air is crisp, the silence broken only by wind, water, or distant wildlife. Trails lead past glaciers and open suddenly onto views that stop you in your tracks. Banff invites you to slow down, breathe deeply, and feel small in the most peaceful, grounding way. Reaching 27, Hong Kong rises in contrast, mountains, harbor, and endless motion. Skyscrapers rise sharply from the harbor, while green hills and quiet trails sit just beyond the glass and steel. Ferries cut across Victoria Harbor as neon lights begin to glow, blending movement, sound, and reflection into a rhythm that never quite stops. Markets buzz with energy, temples offer moments of calm, and food stalls fill the air with familiar warmth. Hong Kong doesn't slow down, but it knows when to pause, balancing ambition, tradition, and everyday moments with remarkable ease. At number 26, Sydney feels open and sunlit, shaped by water, wind, and an easy way of life. The harbour stretches wide, dotted with ferries and framed by the quiet curve of the Opera House and the steady presence of the harbour bridge. Beaches sit close to the city, where mornings begin with salt air and long walks along the shore. Neighbourhoods feel relaxed, filled with outdoor cafes and conversations that linger. Sydney welcomes you with space, light, and a sense that life here is meant to be lived outdoors. Halfway through at number 25, Cappadocia feels carved by nature and shaped by human imagination. Soft valleys and tall rock formations rise from the earth, carved slowly by wind, rain, and time. At sunrise, the sky fills with hot air balloons, drifting quietly above villages and ancient cave homes. Below, narrow paths lead through stone churches and underground spaces where people once lived in silence and safety. The landscape feels otherworldly, yet deeply human, marked by hands that adapted to it over centuries. Cappadocia feels calm and timeless. At number 24, Petra feels like a secret revealed slowly. Hidden within Jordan's desert canyons, the journey toward it is quiet and deliberate, winding through narrow rock passages shaped by time. Then, almost suddenly, the treasury appears, carved directly into rose-colored stone, calm and commanding. The silence around it feels heavy with history. Paths lead deeper into the city, past tombs, temples, and stairways worn smooth by centuries of footsteps. The desert light changes everything, turning stone from soft pink to deep red. Petra feels patient, as if it's been waiting, holding its stories until you arrive ready to listen. Reaching 23, Los Angeles feels spread out and sun-soaked, a city defined as much by movement as by place. Palm-lined streets stretch toward the horizon, where hills rise quietly behind layers of neighborhoods. One moment you're near the ocean, watching waves roll in under soft light, and the next you're winding through canyons or standing above the city, looking down at its endless sprawl. There's ambition here, but also ease, people chasing dreams while enjoying the warmth of everyday life. Los Angeles reveals itself in fragments, in drives, in views, and in moments where the city suddenly feels wide open. At number 22, Dubai feels like a city built on contrast and confidence. Rising from the desert, glass towers catch the sun while quiet dunes stretch endlessly just beyond the skyline. Everything here feels bold, the scale, the speed, the ambition, yet moments of calm exist in unexpected places, along the water or in the early desert light. Dubai feels forward-looking, always reaching, shaped by vision and possibility as much as by sand and sky. Closing the 20s at number 21, Tallinn balances medieval beauty with modern life. Its medieval old town rises behind stone walls and red rooftops, where narrow streets wind toward towers that have stood for centuries. From above, the Baltic Sea glimmers calmly, reminding you how closely the city has always lived with trade and travel. Inside the walls, life moves gently, small cafes, hidden courtyards, soft footsteps on cobblestone. Tallinn lets history and modern life exist side by side, offering a calm, thoughtful beauty that grows the longer you stay. At number 20, the pyramids of Giza stand timeless and unshaken. Rising from the edge of the desert, they stand in silence, vast and steady, unchanged by the passing of time around them. The air feels heavier here, filled with questions no one has fully answered. Stone blocks stacked with impossible precision cast long shadows as the sun moves slowly across the sand. The pyramids don't try to explain themselves. They simply exist, powerful, mysterious, and humbling, reminding you how small the present moment is compared to the weight of human history. Coming in at 19, Niagara Falls reminds us of nature's unstoppable power. Long before you see the water, the sound fills the air, steady, deep, and impossible to ignore. Then the falls appear, pouring endlessly into the river below, sending mist high into the sky. Rainbows form and disappear with the light, and the ground seems to vibrate beneath your feet. Nature isn't gentle here, but it's beautiful in its force and persistence. Niagara Falls commands attention, reminding you of the raw strength moving constantly through the natural world. At number 18, Bali offers balance, tradition, and quiet beauty. Surrounded by ocean and shaped by green rice terraces, the island moves to a slower, more thoughtful rhythm. Temples sit quietly among jungles and cliffs, filled with incense, offerings, and the soft sound of prayer. Mornings begin with light over the fields, evenings with warm air and distant waves. Life here feels closely tied to nature and tradition. Bali doesn't overwhelm you with spectacle. It gently pulls you in, offering balance, reflection, and a sense of peace that lingers long after you leave. Reaching 17, Halong Bay feels calm and mysterious, like a place best understood slowly. Thousands of limestone islands rise from the water, their shapes softened by mist and time. Boats move quietly between them, leaving gentle ripples across the green surface. The air feels still, broken only by water against rock or distant voices drifting across the bay. As the light changes, the islands seem to shift and breathe, sometimes sharp, sometimes almost dreamlike. Halong Bay invites you to sit back, look around, and let the silence and beauty settle in naturally. At number 16, Tan Kok moves gently through fields, rivers, and towering cliffs. A narrow river winds through open rice fields and towering limestone cliffs, carrying small boats that glide almost silently across the water. As you drift along, the world feels close and quiet, birds calling, water gently brushing the oars, stone rising on both sides. Caves open briefly, then disappear, like hidden passages through the land. Tan Kok draws you in gently, through stillness, rhythm, and the feeling of moving with the landscape rather than through it. Coming in at 15, Tanzania feels vast and alive, a place where nature still sets the rules. In the Serengeti, the land pulses with quiet anticipation, herds crossing the grass, predators watching patiently, dust rising in the distance. Farther east, the air softens along the coast, where the ocean meets warm sand and island life drifts at an easy pace. Tanzania reminds you what the world looked like before boundaries, when life followed the rhythm of the earth. At number 14, Machu Picchu rests high above the world, calm and timeless. Hidden high in the Andes, it emerges slowly through cloud and stone, revealing terraces and walls that seem to belong exactly where they stand. The mountains rise close on every side, quiet and watchful, while mist moves gently through the ruins. There's a sense of balance here, between human effort and the natural world, that feels deeply intentional. Walking its paths, you feel both the ambition and humility of the people who built it. Machu Picchu speaks softly, through silence, elevation, and the feeling of standing somewhere truly timeless. Reaching 13, Rio de Janeiro bursts with emotion, contrast, and natural drama. Mountains rise sharply from the city, meeting the ocean in a way that feels almost unreal. Beaches stretch wide, filled with movement, music, and everyday life unfolding in the open air. Above it all, Christ the Redeemer watches quietly, arms open to the city below. There's contrast everywhere, calm mornings, loud celebrations, moments of beauty mixed with raw energy. Rio invites you to feel everything at once, to move with its rhythm, and to understand a city where nature and human spirit collide. At number 12, the Maldives feels unreal in the gentlest way. Scattered across the Indian Ocean, its islands sit low against endless blue, where the line between sea and sky almost disappears. Water is everywhere, clear, calm, and glowing with shades you don't expect to see in real life. Days move slowly here, shaped by sunlight, quiet waves, and warm breezes. There's a sense of privacy and stillness, broken only by the sound of the ocean beneath wooden walkways. The Maldives offers space, silence, and the rare feeling of being completely at ease with the world around you. Just outside the top 10 at number 11, Bora Bora feels distant, peaceful, and beautifully untouched. Surrounded by a calm turquoise lagoon, the island rises gently at its center, green and quiet against the water. Overwater bungalows sit just above the surface, where mornings begin with soft light and the sound of the sea below. The air is warm, the pace unhurried, and everything feels slightly softened by distance from the rest of the world. Life here isn't about rushing or planning, it's about being present. Bora Bora offers peace, beauty, and the simple comfort of feeling far away from everything else. At number 10, Bled feels calm and almost storybook-like. A small island sits quietly in the middle of the lake, crowned by a church whose bell echoes softly across the water. Above it all, a castle rests on a cliff, watching over the town and the surrounding mountains. The lake changes with the light, deep blue, soft green, sometimes perfectly still. Walking along the shore feels unhurried, as if time has decided to slow down here. Its beauty comes from balance, simplicity, and the gentle feeling of being somewhere peaceful and complete. Coming in at 9, Prague feels like a city shaped by stories. Its streets curve gently past spires, bridges, and buildings that seem to belong to another century. The Vltava River moves quietly beneath Charles Bridge, where footsteps and music blend into the air. From above, the castle watches over red rooftops and narrow lanes that glow warmly at dusk. There's a sense of weight here, history, art, and everyday life layered together without trying to stand apart. Prague invites you to wander, to look closely, and to feel the past living comfortably alongside the present. At number 8, Mont Saint-Michel rises between land, sea, and sky. Rising from the tidal flats of Normandy, it appears and disappears with the sea, sometimes an island, sometimes connected to the mainland by a narrow path. Stone walls climb upward toward the abbey at the top, where centuries of faith and endurance seem to linger in the air. As tides rush in and out, the landscape changes completely, adding to the sense of mystery. Mont Saint-Michel feels temporary and timeless at once, shaped by water, stone, and belief. Reaching 7, Venice feels like a city floating between reality and reflection. Water replaces roads, and life moves by boat, echo, and quiet footsteps along narrow stone paths. Canals wind past weathered palaces, their walls softened by time and tide. There's a gentle hush here, broken by voices carrying across water and the distant splash of oars. Venice you to slow down, get a little lost, and accept a place that exists entirely on its own terms. At number 6, Santorini glows with light, silence, and sea. Whitewashed buildings spill down volcanic cliffs, glowing softly against the deep blue of the Aegean Sea. Paths wind past small churches and quiet terraces, where life seems to pause as the sun begins to set. Evenings here feel unhurried, filled with warm air and the sound of distant waves below. There's a sense of simplicity in the landscape, sharpened by the island's dramatic edges. Santorini offers space, color, and moments where you naturally stop, look out, and let the world feel beautifully still. Entering the top 5, Paris welcomes us with timeless rhythm and quiet beauty. Paris feels familiar even the first time you arrive. Streets curve gently past cafes, bookshops, and old stone buildings that seem to carry quiet conversations from another time. The Seine moves steadily through the city, reflecting bridges, lights, and everyday moments. Landmarks rise naturally from the landscape, never shouting for attention, just existing with confidence. There's beauty in the small details here: a table by the sidewalk, the sound of footsteps, the glow of evening light on pale walls. Paris settles into you slowly, through mood, rhythm, and the simple pleasure of being present. At number 4, Kyoto teaches us the power of stillness and tradition. Temples rest quietly among trees, their wooden halls softened by age and careful preservation. Narrow streets lead past traditional houses, where everyday life carries traces of old customs and unspoken respect. In the early morning, the city feels almost still, the sound of footsteps, the rustle of leaves, the faint ringing of bells. Seasons shape everything here, from falling blossoms to drifting snow. Kyoto invites patience, awareness, and a gentle appreciation for moments that pass quietly but stay with you. Reaching number 3, Rome lives where history and daily life never parted ways. Ancient ruins rise beside busy streets, not fenced off from life but woven into it. Stone steps are worn smooth by centuries of footsteps, while fountains continue to flow as they always have. Everywhere you walk, there's a sense of layers, empires, faith, everyday routines all sharing the same space. Time feels different here, stretched and softened by familiarity. Rome moves, argues, laughs, and lives openly, reminding you that history isn't something left behind, it's something still unfolding. At number 2, the Great Wall feels less like a single structure and more like a long conversation with the land. It stretches over mountains and valleys, rising and falling with the terrain as if it belongs there. Walking along it, the scale slowly settles in, stone underfoot, wind moving freely, distance in every direction. The wall doesn't feel polished or perfect. It feels weathered, shaped by effort and time. From high points, the view opens wide, quiet, and endless. The Great Wall leaves an impression through persistence, endurance, and a simple reminder of how far human determination can reach. And at number 1, Hallstatt rests gently between the mountain and lake. Hallstatt feels gentle and almost unreal, like a place that exists between water and mountain. Houses cling to the edge of the lake, their reflections resting quietly on the surface below. Steep alpine slopes rise straight behind the village, closing it in and protecting it at the same time. Mornings arrive softly here, with mist drifting across the water and church bells echoing faintly through the air. Life feels small and careful, shaped by nature and tradition. Hallstatt invites you to slow down, look around, and appreciate how peaceful simplicity can be. From quiet streets and hidden corners to legendary landscapes and timeless wonders, this journey across the world reminds us why travel matters. Each of these 50 places tells a different story, shaped by nature, history, and the people who call them home. If this journey inspired you, don't forget to subscribe to Unlimited Travel and become part of a global community driven by curiosity and discovery. Share your favorite destination in the comments, and let us know where you'd like to go next. Until the next journey, keep exploring.